Okay, we're going to get straight on here with excess mortality, and well, the numbers continue to build. So if we look at the right-hand side of this, quite staggering. So 17,381 deaths registered in England and Wales in 7 days to January 13th. That's the highest number of excess deaths since February 2021, and certainly the highest sort of what they describe as non-pandemic related deaths for decades. So it's just ridiculous that this is really getting no particular coverage um, in any real sense anyway. But don't worry, here's Maria Caulfield, the health minister. This is what she had to say. Well, I prefer to deal with the facts. The BMJ has ranked the UK mid-table in Europe for mortality figures comparable with Italy, sorry. She said, in fact, Germany has got higher excess deaths at 15.6%, Finland at 25%, 20.5%, and Poland at 13.3%. And this was a bit that really grabbed me. There are clinical reasons for excess deaths, not political ones, and perhaps he needs to recognise that fact. She was talking on the floor of the House of Commons, of course. And well, Debbie, maybe I could just ask your opinion here because that's quite a staggering one. I would have said that the reason for excess mortality is absolutely political.
Completely political. I mean, Maria Caulfield, of all people, because she's actually a trained nurse and she's been involved with the Cumberledge Review and MHRA. So I would really like to talk to her. I've asked her for an interview actually, but again, that's another person that won't speak to me. Perhaps when I do speak to her or she agrees to speak to me, I can ask her those questions.
Well, if yes, indeed. Well, let's bring Dr. Adrian Boyle on screen then from the Royal College of Emergency Medicine. And he was talking about, he was speaking to the Commons Health and Social Care Committee yesterday. He's saying, we've certainly had the worst ever December we've had. That's his words. If you look at performance figures in every metric, what went on in December was terrible. He said, we've got serious structural problems that impair our ability to deliver urgent and emergency care. So again, if he's claiming that these are structural problems that are causing the emergency crisis, the emergency care crisis, that's also political, Debbie.
Uh, it, the whole situation is political, and I can tell you for why it's political as we go on during the news, because it dovetails quite nicely in with the segment that I'm about to do. So this is purely political, of course.
Yes. Okay, well, let's move on to this then. MHRA issued a press release this morning talking about point of care medicine. And this is what they had to say. The UK will be the first country in the world to introduce a tailored framework for the regulation of innovative products manufactured at the point where a patient receives care. Read that again, manufactured at the point where a patient receives care. This will mean that new medicines with very short shelf lives and highly personalised medicines can more easily be made in or near a hospital setting or ambulance and can get to the patients who need them much more quickly. The new framework will ensure there's no regulatory barriers to innovative manufacturing and that products made via such routes have the same assurances of safety, quality, and effectiveness as those for conventional medicine products. Well, since conventional medicinal products don't seem to have much safety, quality, or effectiveness, or at least it's pretty lax, that's not much of an assurance. But anyway, they go on. In order to implement this framework, new legislation is being developed to amend the UK Human Medicines and Clinical Trials legislation, and we've brought to Parliament later this year. So here is Ian Rees from the MHRA, and he said, as a regulator that champions innovation, we are delighted that our stakeholders are overwhelmingly supportive of introducing a fit-for-purpose UK legislative framework for point-of-care manufacturing. I'd like to know who the stakeholders are in this case. Is it the public? I don't think so. When implemented, these changes will drive tangible benefits for patients with visible differences at the product innovation stage right up to the point of care, which will allow easier access to a greater and more personalised range of treatments for those in need. Now, I didn't know what this was all about, so I decided to have a look, and I came across this article from Future Medicine, and it's called Institutional and Infrastructure Challenges for Hospitals Producing Advanced Therapies in the UK, the concept of point-in-care manufacturing readiness. And this is what they had to say in their plain language summary. Point-of-care manufacture is the production of therapies in hospitals carried out when there is no time for storing the medicine which is delivered to the patient with no delays. Such procedures can be useful for advanced therapies derived from techniques such as gene editing, cell manipulation, and tissue engineering. Over the last decades, UK hospitals have produced advanced therapies in small quantities. In the future, this production will likely be more thoroughly integrated into clinical routines. So we're talking about gene editing, cell manipulation, and tissue engineering, Debbie, and this is all very futuristic kind of stuff. It's not the kind of stuff which is routine by any means at this stage, but already we're regulating for this as if it's routine.
Yeah, exactly. And point of care, does that mean, we go into a hospital and the drug's manufactured by the side of us? I mean, that puts manufacturing and distribution into a whole new light. And that is